Yeah, it's on that, must be on that bike pad.
Good evening. It's great to see a good-looking group of people out here, as always. Anyway, as we get started, this is the Nampa City Council meeting, and we have a tradition that I love, and that is that we open every meeting in prayer. And I have asked Sharon and Dave Harris, that are frequent flyers here. They are here every council meeting. And Sharon serves on a couple of our boards, and I've asked if they would open us in prayer, and then I'm going to ask the Girl Scouts to come forward when we do the pledge, and they're going to help lead us in the pledge tonight. So let's stand for prayer.
Thank you for City Council for allowing us to pray. Let's pray together. God, I cannot believe how much has changed in a week. The situation in our world is desperate. We are desperate. We are not able to stop evil on our own. So God, we plead with you to step in, use your mighty hand. Please move in our world and save us from ourselves. Protect the innocents. And Lord, we just pray that you would stop the bad guys.
And Father, we are so grateful for our City Council and each member. And Father, we just pray, first of all, for great protection over them. And that, God, you would also give them great wisdom. And that, God, as residents of Nampa, we might all join together to be peacemakers. And that, God, together we would just be a light to our community and to this world, Lord. And we thank you, God, that we can call on you and that you answer and you hear. And we are so grateful again for each person that serves on behalf of us. And so, God, we do pray this in the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay. Girl Scouts, would you like to come and lead in the flag salute, please? Okay.
Please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sharon and Dave, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You know, as Dave alluded to in his prayer, since our last council meeting, we have seen the atrocities of what has taken place in our world. And I have to say, I didn't talk to council about this, so I have to be careful saying I'm speaking on behalf of all council, but I think I'm safe in saying we stand with Israel. And
Amen.
And our hearts go out to that country, but to all the people that are so negatively impacted. It's been a devastating situation. And so our prayers are with Israel and that entire region and our military for wisdom. And we need to be interceding and praying for our military and for our country as we have, that we have wisdom as we are going to be making, I'm sure, decisions in the coming possibly weeks and months. So with that, let's start with roll call.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Chingula.
Here.
Reynolds.
Here.
Haverfield.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. I'm not aware of any proposed amendments to the agenda, other than I will say that we do have a continuation of 2 public hearings this afternoon or this evening, and that is, let me get it real quickly, 8-1 and 8-2. Thank you, Shar. So public hearings 8-1 and 8-2 will be continued to the, I believe, the November 6th meeting. Other than that, I'm not aware of any other changes. Council, do you have any such? Okay, thank you. So with that, I would stand for a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next item is our consent agenda, and I would stand for a motion to approve our consent agenda as submitted in the packet.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, so we don't have any proclamations tonight, so the very next item on our agenda is our public forum time. And tonight we have two different recognitions. The first one that we're going to start with is Silver Sage Girl Scout Troop 202. And as you can see up on the screen, they had a wonderful project, which was the Snoopy box at the dog park. And I just want to say, girls, do you want to come forward? You can come forward to the mic, and we may need someone to help adjust the mic for them so they can speak into the mic. Could you individually, each of you, tell us your name and what grade you're in? Thank you. Okay, and I'll start by saying, so if you guys can see online, this Snoopy box is totally amazing, and they built it. So when you introduce yourself, give us your name, what grade you're in, where you go to school, and what role you played in building this wonderful toy box.
Hi, my name is Peyton. I'm in 5th grade. I go to Franklin D. Roosevelt Elementary. I help paint and put the shingles on. And my dad helped donate paint and shingles.
That is awesome.
Hi, my name is Georgia. I'm in 5th grade. I go to Birch Elementary. And I helped paint the toy box, build the toy box, and yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jaden. I'm in 5th grade. I go to Idaho Arts Elementary. I helped paint it, build it, and I gotta say one of my favorite parts of building it would be using the power tools.
You did that well. Good for you.
Hi, my name is Abigail. I'm in 6th grade. I go to St. Paul's Catholic School, and I helped my dad design this toy box. I also helped paint it and put the shingles on.
That is awesome.
Hi, my name is Nico. I'm in 5th grade, and I go to Waihe Elementary School. I helped build it, paint it, shingle it, and I also built the Snoopy on top of it.
Wow. Wow. And then, and their leaders, Kathy and Tammy. Thank you guys for your leadership. It's wonderful. Amy, can we I have a pin for each of you, and can you guys come forward and let's take a picture? Council, let's get behind,
okay.
and we're going to take a quick picture.
Mayor, Victor has lots of money. Are there any cookies?
Come on up, and I'll give you. Okay, here's a pen. There you go. You girls are amazing, and you did such an incredible job. Is there anyone that isn't here tonight? And then for the leaders, yeah. They actually let me drill in one of the screws on the Snoopy. That was so sweet of you to let me do it. Yeah, and you guys were really good at it. Okay, we're going to turn around and face right there and take a picture. Come on in, Randy.
That is cute.
Oh, it's great. You girls are amazing. Thank you.
I've just two people who enjoy the park and are so proud of them. I just brought them flowers.
Oh. Oh, you're the best. And I don't remember your name, but you were there. You were there. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, girls, great job.
Mayor Kling,
Yes.
do you mind if we have the parents and grandparents stand up? And so we can see who you are? Thank you for all
Good
you all
job,
do.
parents. Thank you.
Mayor, is this the old dog park? Or- Okay.
Uh-huh.
And the new one's opening, what, in spring?
Yes.
Okay.
So are they going to help with that as well then?
Well, we'll have to see. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So we do have another recognition this evening, and Kurt Schenkel, our deputy chief, is going to come forward and share this particular recognition. Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. Oops. Try that again. So, just quickly, we wanted to come in tonight and do a public recognition and a police letter of commendation for two individuals that took action on September 21st, 2023, where we had two young boys that got attacked by dogs. And I will say that Heath and Ronan are here tonight with their two sisters and their grandmother. They were able to make it. A little shy. So thank you for being here. So I just want to say that the Nampa Police Department, along with the City of Nampa, would like to thank Cy Gillum and Anthony Edison for their actions on September 21st, 2023. Both subjects noticed two young children being violently attacked by two dogs. These individuals did not hesitate to step in and do what they could, risking their own potential injury to get the dogs off the boys and stop the attack. Ms. Gillum and Mr. Edison were in the right place at the right time when they responded to the boys and took what action they could to stop that attack. They are commended for their efforts to help the boys and stop this horrible event. Thank you, Ms. Gillum and Mr. Edison, for coming to their aid. Your efforts are being recognized for those actions, and as a thank you from the Nampa Police Department and the citizens of Nampa. So they're both here tonight. If you guys would be able to come up, Mr. Edison and Ms. Gillum. So I want to say thank you again, and for that, the letter of commendation for Mr. Anthony Edison. Thank you. We also have one of our Command Challenge coins. Only a handful of these have been handed out, and it's for those individuals or those officers that go above and beyond, do something more than just the normal. A lot of people may not have done what you did. They may have just kept driving. Or as we see in today's world, they stop and just video. You guys actually stopped and you helped, and we really appreciate that. So there's that for you, sir, and for Cy. Thank you.
And then are the boys going to come?
And I do have something for the boys too, because Heath just had a birthday. So
Happy birthday. So I think the boys, my understanding is, didn't want to come forward.
Well, do you want to come up and take a picture? Okay.
Let's take a picture with these police officers.
Keith got everything taken off. He's had how many surgeries now? 8?
Wow.
How many? 5?
5 surgeries. Wow.
So do you want to
Let's come forward and take a photo.
picture? We'll take a picture for you. Yeah.
And if you want to go ahead and come all the way up, and we'll, council, let's do the same thing all over again. Can I say something, boys? Boys, you are so brave. And I'm so sorry for what you walked through, but thank you for being so brave. And isn't it wonderful when someone like when Cy and this other gentleman, I forgot his name,
Edison.
Mr. Edison, happened to see you, that they came to help save you, to protect you. And that was a wonderful thing. I'm sorry for the traumatic thing that you went through. Thank you for being brave and strong, and I'm glad you're getting better. Yeah, can I shake your hands? You're pretty amazing guys. There you go. Can we take a picture with you? Okay, come on up. Please do. Yep. Mr. Edison, I thank you.
I'm there now.
Yes. Yes.
October 7th.
October
Yeah.
7th.
So your new husband's out here? Yes. And your parents? Shall we have them all stand? Family, you might as well stand. It's great to see you guys. Thank you for coming.
My husband, Knox Freeman. I wanted to say also that the boys, they just never gave up. They were so brave, and I'm so incredibly proud of them and just happy that we were able to be there and God protecting everyone and keeping us safe. So
Yeah.
I printed a QR code in the back. It has the GoFundMe that was created for the surgeries in case anybody in the audience wanted to scan that.
Well, thank you. So where can we find the QR code for
It's
that?
in the back.
It's in the back?
On
Okay.
the desk. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, but the GoFundMe is Heath's Healing. So if anyone searches Heath's Healing on GoFundMe,
Heath's Healing.
yes,
Heath?
Okay.
they'll be able
Heath.
to find it.
Can write that down. Heath's Healing.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you. Well, boys, we're proud of you for your bravery. Thank you. Girls, thank you for your service. This is what community's about because guess what? You guys are the future leaders of the city. Yeah. Boys, how old are the boys? What grade are they in?
He just turned 9, Ronan's 10. What grade are you in? Third grade?
Third grade.
And 4th grade.
Wow. Well, it's so nice to meet you, boys. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you all.
Thank you.
As we move on to the next section of the agenda, you do not have to stay. You are welcome to stay if you would like to, but if you would like to step out, you are welcome to do so. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Let's go get a picture of you guys outside with your flowers. Those are awesome.
Did she just give one to the boys?
So nice, the lady with the balloons, huh?
That was cute, yeah.
Do we have anyone?
But too bad we don't have a balloon for Glenn. I'm sure he'd want one.
So we are ready to move into the next section of our public forum, and I believe we have a couple of people signed up asking to speak.
Madam Mayor, our first speaker is Christian Case, who'd like to speak on a non-agenda item.
Good evening, Christian.
Good evening, Council and Mayor Kling. I'm Christian Case at 435 Arrowhead Drive in Nampa. And I didn't realize that you would cover my topic so well before I got up here, but I just wanted to make you at least a little aware of the war in the spirit that's going on in our world right now. And I have no idea what that's going to entail. We saw a little bit of it in Maui. We see a little bit of it in Israel. But I just want you folks to be aware that it does exist, it is real, and it's coming to a fevered pitch right now. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, our next speaker is regarding an agenda item, and that is Philip Peterson.
The agenda item is 7.6, I believe, concerning the bicycle lanes on South Power Line Road and
Excuse
the
me,
Sharrows on
Mr.
16th
Peterson?
Avenue North.
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Philip Peterson, 1617 South Power Line Road, Nampa, Idaho.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Regarding the 16th Avenue North matter, there have been historically Sharrows along that road ever since the repaving took place several years ago. And yearly, when the restriping occurred, I would bring to the Nampa Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, of which I'm a member, the fact that the restriping was occurring, but the sharrows had not been refurbished. And that has continued, and now it's been chip sealed again, and the sharrows are gone altogether. So we've submitted a memo regarding that from the committee. There was unanimous approval of the proposal to refurbish, well, put back in place now the sharrows. So I ask that we not go backwards here from a safety standpoint, and that the sharrows be put back in place. Secondly, regarding South Powerline Road between Roosevelt and Dakota Avenue, that's a wide enough road to accommodate bike paths. The memo covers the various reasons why those bike paths would be very advantageous for that area. The fact that there are schools involved and parks involved, other places that people would want to go via bicycle. So parking, which is covered in the memo, also may be an issue there in that there is currently on-street parking. Presumably, if there were bike lanes, there would not be. However, I had noted in the memorandum that it's a residential area, and there are actually very few on-street parking. There's very little usage in that way in my observation on several days. Also, I've observed that every house has a driveway, and virtually all of them, with the exception of one or two, have either a carport or a garage. So there's ample off-street parking there. So again, we ask that that be considered by the council, and that we have bike lanes on that stretch of South Powerline Road. I'm the one who provided the data to Brianna to do the two memos, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you that you are an avid biker. Appreciate it. See you a
Thank you
lot.
for that.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, our next speaker is Larita Shannendorf, and she is speaking on an agenda item.
Hi, Larita.
Larita Shandorf, 1108 South Stanford. I'm speaking in favor of the item 7.6 on the agenda regarding what was just mentioned about bike lanes on South Powerline. I would also support removal of parking and installation of these bike lanes. This is a currently signed bicycle route. There are green signs there directing people to the Stoddard Trail. It is part of the network that's identified in the approved bicycle and pedestrian master plan. It connects students to Sherman Elementary and Skyview High School. It connects the neighborhood to the Stoddard Trail. It's necessary to get people to the Stoddard. Sidewalks exist on South Powerline in this section, but there are some significant gaps at some of the properties. So a wider side path or a wider sidewalk probably could be done in the future, but currently there's nothing. Most of these properties do have significant setback from the roadway, so parking could be accommodated on their property or on a side street off of South Powerline. There is a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. There are only 2 vehicle lanes, not 4. So cars that, if the bicycle is taking the full lane, which they need to do, cars would not be able to go around them. So no bike lanes here make this a high-stress, unsafe part of the network, and it really comes down to the convenience of parking for a very small number of homeowners versus public safety and compliance with an approved plan. So, thank you.
Loretta, I just want to say thank you so much for your leadership and your long-term commitment with our bike and pedestrian pathways. You have been an incredible champion, and thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It's greatly valued. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we do not have anyone else signed up.
Okay. So I think with that, we will move on to the next section on our agenda, and that's agency and commission reports, of which we have none. Staff communications, Tom Points. And then we will get through a couple of our new business items, since we have people here and waiting, before we step into our public hearing.
So, evening, Mayor, Council. I'm trying to share my screen here so I can go over some slides so everybody can see this. I'll just start talking while we're waiting for it to register. So I've got two items on the staff report. One is the water renewal facility, and so we've got your 2-page report that talks about the construction progress. We're just very slightly ahead of schedule, so and that's good news. Yep.
We don't need that.
Okay,
try that.
Oh, okay. You ready? Okay. So slightly ahead of schedule, things are going well. Their team's working on the recycled pipeline and some of the contracting, and we did get the easement. So what's probably most impressive about this project is we've had over 150 people working on this project. Has a lot of contractors in a small space. There's only been one very minor injury, so I'm impressed on the safety record of this group. It's pretty impressive. So I don't know why it's not. We might have more technical difficulties, but I'll just talk through. You have in your packet, you've got a series of slides on what we're calling the Karcher wetland. So we're pretty excited about this project. It's actually 27 acres. It's owned by the Idaho Transportation Department, right along Indian Creek, right next to the Karcher interchange. So it's at the southwest corner there. And we approached ITD, and we are asking, is this a partnership project that we can do to do a constructed wetland? And they said yes. And we've recently had an MOU assigned by ITD for that use. Also, we did get a $3 million grant from the EPA to build a demonstration project. And what we're trying to do is it's close enough to our wastewater plant that if we can take phosphorus and nitrogen out of the Indian Creek through a constructed wetland, then that could lower our operating costs on the chemical side at the plant, and we can do a trade. That's something we'll have to work out with the DEQ, but it's been done before. The city of Boise, for example, is doing that at the Dixie Drain in the downstream portion of Boise River. So other things that we're trying to do, so the EPA's grant is the Columbia River Restoration Program. So it's focused on trying to get toxins out of the rivers, because toxins are not good for the salmon, and that's one of our objectives too. We're gonna using these funds, we're gonna do some testing for things that doesn't necessarily come out of the wastewater renewal facility. So medications for one. Also gonna test out some PFAS. If you've heard of PFAS, it's that Teflon that's on the pans. We believe we could probably get some of that out. Some of these things we're not regulated on, but we want to be proactive and see what we can do to improve water quality. So it's a good project. And the last thing I just want to mention is that stormwater. So we have just upstream, this is in a really good spot for a stormwater mitigation project. So we have probably 1,000 direct discharges right into Indian Creek that when it rains and storms, it gets into the Indian Creek. And so this location is at the bottom of our impact area, so we can treat and check out what stormwater we can improve in our another water quality project. We're trying to be very proactive. We know that other states around us have stormwater requirements through the regulatory agencies. We do not yet, but we know that will eventually come. So other states have done this, but this is the first one that I know of in Idaho of this type. So we're excited to blaze the trail for for the state on this project. Can I answer any questions?
Tell you what, I have to say, so, Tom, I am so proud of you and your team, because one of the things we talk about in the city is innovation and stewardship. This is innovative. It is being a good steward not only of our resources, but also there's a piece of ground sitting there doing nothing but growing weeds, right? That we're trying to figure out how to keep it looking nice. To be able to accomplish and do what you have the vision for doing is absolutely the best thing we could do in our community, because it helps us long term, right, in offsetting some of our DEQ, EPA requirements. It beautifies the area. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful, and I just want to say I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you for your innovation.
Thank you for saying that, Mayor.
It's
Appreciate
awesome. Yeah, you are welcome. Great job.
Thanks.
I wish everybody could have seen it. I don't know if everybody understands it, but this is a big deal. And it's so proactive. It's awesome. So, okay, we are going to move through a couple of our new business items, and we're going to start with 7.1 on the agenda. And this is an action item, and this is to authorize the mayor to sign the Warhawk Air Museum deferral lease and enter into negotiations on a new lease. And Crystal, do you want to come forward? And after we vote, I would love to see our Warhawk Air Museum team come here. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So this deferral lease, as we're calling it, is the first of its kind for the Nampa Municipal Airport. This lease basically states our intention to enter into a permanent lease with the Warhawk. We would like to enter into this deferral lease right now so we have enough time to negotiate the terms of the contract, so to make sure that we're within FAA compliance. But it takes a little bit of time to get things through the Airport Commission, our council here, the Warhawk Board, and the FAA, as you guys can imagine. And the Warhawk is trying to break ground on their new expansion in the next couple of weeks, and so they would like to take advantage of the weather while we have it. So staff would recommend approving the signature on this deferral lease today.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Everfield.
Yes.
Chingula.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Crystal, thank you.
And Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to ask Sue Paul and Carson from the Warhawk to come up. They'd
Sue
like
and
to
Carson,
say
thank you.
couple of
Come on
things.
forward. I'm so excited to have you guys come forward.
Well, thank you so much for having us here today, and we really want to thank Crystal for her efforts with us. We've worked long and hard with her. We're so excited for this expansion to finally begin. We've been working for 3 long years to raise the money to build the third wing of the Warhawk Air Museum so that we can honor our global war on terror veterans and their families as we have World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War, so we are so grateful. Thank you so much for being in our favor for this. I just want you to know how much we appreciate and how grateful we are to the City of Nampa. It has been such a wonderful experience. When Mayor Horn invited us 24 years ago to move the museum to the Nampa Airport and become the cornerstone of the airport, we were always, from the very beginning, from the time that first gold shovel hit the ground, partners with the City of Nampa and the Nampa Airport, and we are incredibly grateful for who you are in this city. We're all very blessed to be here. So I'd like to introduce Carson Spear. He is our Executive Director, and he is a Global War on Terror veteran and very knowledgeable, and we're very, very excited to have him on board and help to guide us through the future now.
Thank you, Sue, and thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council. Appreciate all the support. I was a captain in the Army and did a year in Iraq and lost some very close friends and helped the families through all of that, and saw many other of my friends wounded, and I was wounded myself and blown up 4 times over there. So the Warhawk Air Museum is very honored to be able to bring this tribute, this state-of-the-art
post 9/11 facility to the city of Nampa and honor the Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. So this means a great deal, and we're so thankful for tonight.
Sue, I just want to say thank you to you and John for your initial vision. I'm so thankful that Maxine Horn had the vision to get you over here. Yeah, she did. It's important. What I love about what you do is it aligns with who we are. I like to say we're the best of what America was, and we don't ever want to lose it. We want to hang on to it. And the educational programs that you provide to the students all across the Treasure Valley, and then to across, the nation, all the people that come through, the economic impact is incredibly positive. I just thank you. I so value you, the work that you're doing. It is important to this community, but it's important to not only the state of Idaho, but to our nation, that you are actually maintaining and raising the visibility of so many heroes. And I'm so thankful that you found Carson. He's going to be amazing, and welcome to our community. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Mayor.
And so I'm excited for the work that you guys are doing, and so appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Every one of you.
Thank
You
you.
all are invited to our groundbreaking on October 27th, so we sure hope you can swing over there.
Be there.
We'll be sending invitations. You'll get them individually.
May we show a quick 4-minute video that kind of explains what we're hoping to do?
Let's do it.
Did you hit play?
Could you unmute me? I did, but I'll do it again. Thanks, Kristen. Of course. That was on. Oh, technical difficulties, guys, sorry. One last time, and then we're gonna give up.
If you turn your sound on and just use the microphone, would that work?
Potentially. Pause. All my millennial friends are rolling right now.
That's an excellent, excellent video. And you know, it's unfortunate because if any of us have been watching the news, we're seeing the same scenes over and over and over again today. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. We are going to move to 7.2 on the agenda. Man, you could just stop right there. We've had a really good evening celebrating amazing people and amazing things, and that's what I love about Nampa. It's awesome. 7.2 is important too, and this is to authorize the mayor to sign the amended contract between the City of Nampa and our Nampa Police Protective Association, which includes adjustment to wages, benefits, and other terms under the 2-year contract.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve it as submitted. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mayor Kling.
Okay.
You know, I, being a retired police officer and served for over 40 years in law enforcement, I see that we come up with this issue every couple of years now. And it seems like we tug and pull as much as we can, even though we support the police department 100%. It's just not enough. It's not enough to go around for our Nampa police officers. I want to think outside the box now, Mayor Kling and fellow council. Every time that we begin our negotiations, we prepare for that. And I'm going to say that we should be prepared before that. We should already know what we're going to do and how we're going to proceed with our police department and the negotiations. I wish we could have a committee that studies the issues prior to negotiations so we know, as well as the police officers, what we're going to be able to receive for them and for our community. So at this point, I was just wondering, and I would like your support, is to form a committee during the year that we're going to have the negotiations and see if there are any alternatives there are that we can support our police officers and not receive so much tax-based payers that we have to encroach on them. They're dedicated police officers, and so is our community as well. Safe community is important to us, as in every city, but this one is different because the city supports our police department. What I'd like to do is to even go to the legislative side and say if they're going to build in Nampa, such as these townhomes or multi-unit locations or homeowners, that we should be able to have or ask the legislators to form a statute that says if you're going to build in Nampa, you have to pay for our police department. Because we as taxpayers pay for the police officers in 100% taxes, property taxes. If we could include that in the new developments, new construction, then it wouldn't impose on our taxpayers as much. Maybe we can pay our officers and give them as much as they, to fit in with all the other agencies, but maybe more than just that. Give them the equipment that they need to perform the duties for us, our taxpayers. So keep that in mind that we do this in the next couple of years when this contract begins to expire. And let's be ready for this instead of hit it cold turkey like we usually do. So thank you. I support this. I support this new contract. I wish in many ways we could do better, but I think we're fit where we are. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I do want to say that because I almost feel like it sounds as though we weren't prepared, and so the City of Nampa, we support our police association. And we did go in knowing what we could do, and then it took us a while to figure out how to do it, but we have the utmost respect and regard for the service that is provided. So I want to say thank you to our police association first of all, for in the negotiation side for representing the entire body, and second to everyone that serves in the City of Nampa, because I tell everybody I see we have the best police department in the state of Idaho and probably one of the best in the entire nation. We have amazing people with incredible leadership, and we stand true to the core values of excellence and integrity and teamwork. And I love that because no matter what transpires, I always know we did it right. We've done a great job. We trust our guys, and it's wonderful to be in a community that backs the blue. And we do as a whole community. They get more free donuts and somebody buys the coffee and right? Yeah. Anyway, so we always come, I will say we always come to the table with what we have and the best of what we have. And I want to say thank you to our negotiating team. Dale, thank you so much. And Doug, Racine, really appreciate from the city side, and then Tyler, and you guys did a great job. I know it's hard, but we get it done, and that's what counts, and so thank you. So, any comments from anyone else? Okay, I think we're ready to vote. Roll call.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Chingula.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Here we go. So I think I'd like to do one more, and that's so that Lieutenant Kimball, are you staying all night anyway, or? Yes, ma'am, I am. You are, but we can go ahead and do yours now, too. So, okay.
All night?
Yes. So item 7.3, and Tyler, thank you for being here. Thank you for your work. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's past Brad's bedtime, isn't it? No, it's 6:30.
So item 7.3 is also an action item. This is the police are requesting to amend Nampa City Code by adding a new section under Title 6-1-1, disorderly conduct. It's titled Intoxicated in Public. Lieutenant Kimball, would you like to come forward and just mention briefly what you're hoping to accomplish and why? Thank you.
Mayor, Council. So this is an amendment or an addition to our disorderly conduct city ordinance that we currently have. And what this does is, I'll read what we're adding. It's very brief. And it says, being intoxicated has a term defined in Idaho Code, Section 39302, while on public roadway, public convenience, or public property, on private property open to the public. And that, and I'll read what that is defined in that section of Idaho Code, so we all understand what that means as well. The definition of intoxicated in that section is a person who is whose mental or physical function is substantially impaired as a result of use of drugs or alcohol. So what we're looking for in this situation is somebody who's under the influence of alcohol or drugs that is on a sidewalk or in a parking lot that's intoxicated to a level that they are, for their safety or the safety of public, that are not able to control themselves or going to be a public nuisance or a medical problem, that we're able to, law enforcement can step in and make an arrest and get them to a safe place like the jail and get them out of the public presence is what we'd like to do in this situation.
Mayor, just, I know I read through this, but I'm just a little more explanation. I'm not understanding why this has not been able to happen before. What's been preventing this from happening?
Mayor, Councilman, I don't have an answer to that. When I was a patrolman back when I used to do real police work, I was obviously wondering that same thing myself. This came up in a patrol briefing. My patrolmen were asking me, hey, why can't we do this? And I put it back onto them. Let's do this. It's absolutely, there's no reason with the council's very supportive of us, and they would probably agree to do this. So I put it back to them and I said, let's find an ordinance, because I'm sure there's an ordinance within our area that's out there. And they researched it and they talked to several other cities that have an ordinance. And what we found is the ordinances that are out there, either prosecutors don't like them or the law enforcement agencies don't like them. So we had one of our patrolmen who said that there is a state code that specifically refers to under the influence of a drug that he arrests people frequently on. So we talked to our legal and we said, hey, can we use that or that state code and change it to alcohol? So we worked with legal and they changed that to a city ordinance, and that's where we came up with this.
Mayor, so move. Let's accept this.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion or questions?
Thank you.
Roll call.
Enriquez.
Yes.
Chingula.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
If you don't mind, I think the next action items are going to be pretty quick. I'd like to go ahead and just move through them, and then we'll be done with them. So 7.4 is an action item. This is to authorize the mayor to sign the quick claim deed for the Ustick Road public right-of-way at the Purdom Lift Station. It has been approved by the City Attorney Todd Lakey.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or questions? Roll call.
Brunner,
Yes.
Angula,
Yes.
Hammerfield,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Item 7.5 is an action item. This is to authorize the mayor and the public works director and the planning director, to sign a task order and contract with Kittleson and Associates for the Southwest Nampa Specific Area Plan in the amount of $75,670, time and material not to exceed. This is a standard agreement form that was created by legal that we complete, and it is approved in the FY24 budget.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or questions?
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Who do I ask?
Rodney?
Oh, there you are. Rodney, I studied the information attached to this task order, and it's basically, why couldn't I, as Victor Rodriguez, just walk over there to this area and say, give me $75,000, and I'll advise you what this land is all about? Why are we paying someone else to do that? I know it's deeper than that, but for example.
Well, so planners do a lot more than people understand. And I would just say that there's some expertise there in design of the document, design of the website that we're going to be putting together to communicate this. If you look back through the State Highway 16 specific area plan, you'll see we did some serious analysis in like architectural features, landscape features, some diagrams of and pictures, elevations of how we want things to look. That's the same type of project we're after here. We don't want it to be just something that anybody puts together. Not saying you couldn't do a good job, but I think this takes expertise here.
Is this area not mentioned in our 2035 comprehensive plan or the transportation plan?
So if Mayor and Councilmember Rodriguez, if you remember how we've presented this in the past, we've got the comprehensive plan that looks at the broad perspective of the city. And then we identified specific areas to do more detailed work. So we're going to go in and talk to the property owners. We're going to look at what's existing there, try to do a really in-depth look at land uses so that we can identify the appropriate approach. We are also coordinating very closely with the county. I don't remember if we've announced that, but the county did approve the impact area expansion into that area, and on the condition that they be heavily involved in this specific area plan. And so we have some work done to coordinate with the Board of County Commissioners as well. And so, it's a pretty extensive process.
Well, usually we let, now I like this idea, by the way, of pre-planning, but usually we allow the developers to start and we follow them.
Yeah.
This is different now.
It is. I'm so glad you pointed that out. This is the essence of true planning for community planning. We want to tell the developers what we want to see, not necessarily wait for them to tell us what they're going to build.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
So this is going to be very similar to the Highway 16 area specific plan, the North Nampa area specific plan that we've just completed. Both of those, this will be the same process. And thank you for collaborating with Cannon County.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we had a motion on the table and a second. Are there any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Angula,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Hammerfield.
Yes.
All in favor? Oh, motion carries.
Okay, we're going to do 7.6. I'm not sure about 7.7 and 7.8 because I think they may be a little longer discussions. I do think we need to get to our public hearing. 7.6 is an action item to direct staff to review the feasibility. And so this is to review the feasibility of installing bike lanes at South Powerline Road from East Roosevelt to the north and East Dakota to the south, based on concerns brought forward in the memos issued by the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Jingula.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Again, it's just to, for the feasibility, not the actual implementation, so yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
So I'm not sure what kind of discussion we're going to have around 7.7 and 7.8. So as much as you don't, are you okay with us waiting it? Okay, I'd like to have time to have those discussions. So we are going to move into section 8 on our agenda. These are the public hearings. And for public hearing 8.1, this particular hearing is a variance that has been asked to be moved forward. So I would stand for a motion to continue this public hearing to date certain of?
November
Rodney?
6th.
Of November 6th.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Jingula.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Item 8.2 is also a variance, and they have asked that it be continued to date certain of November 6th. Is there a motion to continue this public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Brunner.
Yes.
Jingula.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Item 8.3 is an action item, and this is annexation and zoning to RS7 and subdivision preliminary plat approval for Bentley Meadows subdivision. This is located at 0 South Grays Lane. This is a 5.69 acre parcel for Ted Burke at EDM Partners representing Rob Nash. And the original concept is 23 single-family lots and 2 common lots. Is our applicant here this evening? Thank you. Go ahead and come forward and tell us about the project. As you come forward, please share your name, address, and then you have, I think, 7 minutes to tell us about your project.
Thank you. My name is Robert Nash, and my address is 10365 West Highlander Road, Boise, Idaho, 83709. And I'll be really brief. This is a project, a 22-lot subdivision, and the area was designated as an infill project, and we think it's a great highest and best use of the property. And we've tried to really work hard with neighbors. We've accommodated all the needs that we could meet, including providing a sewer easement so that someone behind our property can have sewer. We've accommodated doing a 3-foot berm with a 6-foot fence, and anyway, we've tried to meet the goal of affordable housing for Nampa. My partner is from Valley View, from Nampa, and he's went to Valley View High School. And we're trying to do a different product. We submitted some renderings of a cottage-style home, so it's not just the typical cookie cutter that you see in other cities, let's say. And anyway, I don't really have a lot more to add that you won't hear in the staff report. I want to thank Parker. He's been great. He's super responsive, and we think we have a really good project that will add a lot to this community. There is about a month and a half inventory supply in this area, which will be burned through pretty quick. And so we know more housing is needed. There's a reason you guys are the #1 growing city. I visited Ground Zero last week and the memorials, and I think it's great what you're doing on that Warhawk Museum. But anyway, I'll just keep it short and open it up for any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions right now? So we will have you back, so you get to have the very last word, and so feel free to take notes, and when you close at the end, you can answer any questions that might come up.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Parker.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Parker Bodley, Planning and Zoning Department.
I'll make this as quick and to the point as possible. There are two actions: annexation and zoning, and then the preliminary plat. This is 22 single-family lots and 3 common lots. Surrounding areas: county residences to the north, Pheasant Meadows to the south, Rolling Green Estates to the west. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval of this in August. There were public comments that were submitted that were part of the packet. The building department didn't have anything additional to add other than Title IV requirements. This is 1.3 miles from Fire Station 5, 6-minute response. And then the engineering comments about right-of-way, dedication. The area here is medium density residential, which is a 2.51 to 8 dwelling units an acre. This one is just over 3. I believe we can get to that in the here soon. The residential land use designation, it's more urban than rural. This is within the comprehensive plan. This land use designation is intended for single-family detached homes, but also includes duplexes and townhomes. The comprehensive plan also highlights the need for single-family residential land uses, an objective of which is to add innovative housing options and locating houses in areas that are improve employment and educational opportunities. And then objective 5 is to welcome diversity in housing. I threw in some definitions from the comprehensive plan as well. It defines compatible design as the visual relationship between adjacent and nearby buildings and the immediate streetscape. So not necessarily similar uses, but the bulk, the mass, building mass, the elements, they should be visually related. And then the incompatible land uses as defined in the comprehensive plan is land uses which are known or expected to cause environmental problems for one another. The comprehensive plan also defines residential areas, predominantly residential, but also allows parks, churches, schools. The more definitions, the RS7 district, our zoning district that's being requested here, fits within the medium density designation in the comprehensive plan. Homes built in this development will match the area in the standard building construction, which is pitched roof, garages, yards with trees, all of that. The use is existing within a quarter mile. There's the county residential lots to the north and east, and then some smaller lot subdivisions that are medium density within the city limits. These elevations were submitted after the staff report was sent, but these are representation of what will likely be built there. Looking at the plat, they will be dedicating a small portion of South Grays Lane, even though this doesn't technically abut South Grays Lane. The 22 lots will create a gross density of 3.87, which falls within the 2.51 to 8 dwelling units an acre for the medium density designation. Here's a closer look that we can come back to. This project proposes 0.853 acres in qualified open space, which is 15%. Originally, when this went to the Planning and Zoning Commission, they were at 0.83, which was just under 15. So they've revised it a little bit to create a little bit more open space to reach that 15%. Our code does not count the end cap landscape areas that really can't be utilized as qualified open space. They're just too narrow, not enough space. So those are not included in the calculation, in case you're curious. An overlay here, we can come back to this as well. So the staff findings, this meets the Category A annexation qualifications. It is contiguous with city limits. The proposed RS7 zoning district matches the adjacent property development. There really aren't any concerns from staff with the zoning. The subdivision meets the requirements for the zoning, as well as our subdivision requirements. The conditions of approval, there were two that were added by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The first two, one being that they install a 6-foot vinyl fence on a 3-foot berm where abutting existing homes. And then the second one being that structures should be limited to a single story where abutting existing homes. I had some correspondence with the applicant today, and they wanted to make that condition a little bit more clear. And we can go back to the applicant. They may want to have some discussion about that. Other than that, there are motions there, and I will stand for any questions.
Mayor, so just clarification, so there will be access to Grays Lane? I thought that was one of the concerns of neighbors of not having access to Grays Lane.
Mayor and Councilman Brunner, there will not be access to Grays Lane at this time. When the future development to the north comes, that road will end up in Grays Lane.
So those two gray, what roads do those lead to then? The north and the south? What is that? What is on the north? Where is that?
So this will just be a stub road.
So just a stub, so there's currently only one access.
Correct.
If you don't mind, Parker, go back to the conditions. Maybe I just didn't read that properly. That's what had me confused. Okay, so public right-of-way shall be dedicated for South Grays Lane, resulting in ultimate right-of-way at 40 foot from the quarter section line. Said right-of-way to be created via the final plat. So that is in the future development is what?
So,
because that's not how I would have read that as far as my understanding.
Mayor and Councilman, engineering is requiring a 40-foot right-of-way designation along South Grays Lane. It's this small portion right here that they'll be dedicating, because that's 40 feet from the center line of Grays Lane.
Okay, so for sure that's being dedicated for future, when the future development.
Road expansion, yep.
And so all it takes is a future expansion there to the north, and then that will be opened up?
The road will ultimately connect to Grays Lane when the parcel to the north develops, but we can't require them to cut through another property to connect that road.
Okay, good for now. Thanks.
And then just for clarity, just as this new subdivision will be stubbed out for future access, the existing subdivision was stubbed out for future access.
Correct.
And that's been clearly, it's obviously been setting there for future access. Is that correct?
Correct, okay. As we require for most subdivisions for future expansion to stub those roads.
Okay. Okay.
Mayor Parker, do you have a timeline of that, when that will develop on this other side?
Mayor and Councilwoman, I don't. The owner that sold this parcel, they split it. They don't plan on developing it, so I don't have a timeline.
Any other questions? Yes, Councilman Haverfield.
Parker, just a couple of questions. The area of green that goes back to Grays Lane, did you already state that that will be a future access point to Grays Lane?
Mayor and Councilman, I did not. That will be utilized as an emergency access.
So the fact that it's green at this point, is it a part of the .83 or whatever it was, open area?
Councilman has not counted as qualified open space.
Okay, so you've already taken that into consideration. And then the single-level homes abutting other residences, that would affect 4 lots? Is that what I'm seeing? Lots 1, 2, and 3, and then the one that's turned to the side there, it's a side yard.
Correct.
Okay, they'll all be one story. So what is the setback requirements, rear setback requirements, and then what is the required side yard setback for those 4 lots?
So Mayor and Councilman, as you may recall, in our most recent code changes, we are now requiring a 15-foot rear setback.
Okay, and then what about the side yard setback for that last lot?
The side yard setbacks are still 5 feet.
Okay. And then my last question then is, I lost it. Thought I had it written down, I guess I didn't. Oh, and looking at the lots themselves, it appears that there's no 0 lot line homes planned or duplexes, correct?
That's not the plan, at least for.
Well, are those easements that are set up along the side, as far as going front to back on those lots? It appears that they're 5-foot setback both sides, or easements on both sides, which would prohibit a 0 lot line home.
Mayor and Councilman, yeah, that would be designated on the plat, and there would be easements, yeah.
So I guess my question, it doesn't appear that there is.
Side.
Okay, so everything's single family with a side yard setback.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Parker, thank you. We'll get back to you with further questions if we have any. So this is a public hearing, and Shar, do we have anyone signed up?
Madam Mayor, we do not have anyone signed up for this item.
Okay. So the question is, for those that are in the audience, had someone intended to sign up? Yes, I see some people. I was wondering why you guys are here, so there must be someone planning. Okay, so when you come forward, we'll just figure out, we'll start here with you, and then we'll come over to you. And then if there's someone else, come forward, please state your name and your address, and then you'll have 3 minutes to talk.
Mr. Tribble. I'm David Straight. I'm the owner of the property that's being sold.
Okay. And your address? Go ahead.
Address is 30 South Grays Lane.
Thank you.
So one of the questions that I had was the emergency access onto Grays Lane, because none of the green area or none of the area of this actually butts up against Grays Lane. So I was told originally that, well, they just needed fire truck access, but that would just be into our horse pasture on the opposite side of the fence from this subdivision, with no way to get into the subdivision. So I was just concerned why that. I mean, I guess they can drive out into our pasture if they don't want to get stuck in the mud. But that was one of my questions.
So may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Typically we don't, but as I'm looking at this, so in the ideal world, but Daniel, I don't know if we would allow an access if this road curved and actually went out to Grays Lane, but they would need a little bit more property right on where it really angles down, because there's not room. They'd have to go on the other side of this other property to access Grays Lane. But would we allow it? And so we can come back and speak to that, but I guess the question, while we're in public hearing, could they, I mean, I don't know how, they may not want me to ask that question, but I'm just curious, because you could actually create a point onto Grays Lane if the city would allow it, the access, if we had the ground to do so. So just thought.
So Mayor, so Dave is, so the rest of that land to the north is still your land?
Yes.
Okay, and you're at this point in time, you're not interested in providing a little more land for an access off Grays?
Correct.
Okay, and I'm getting personal here, I know you well, but is there some reason?
Well, Grays Lane has gotten to be such a cut through from Amity over toward the airport, and people very rarely go the speed limit. But
So you're just not
traffic,
wanting any more traffic, is that what I'm hearing?
that's part of it. The traffic is just constant in there getting from Amity over toward the airport. But then they have to go one way or the other to get around the airport, because Grays Lane would run right into the side of the airport runway if it went through to Amity.
Okay, very good, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Not here. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, and this gentleman, thank you for sharing your name and your address.
Dan Friesen, address is 35 South Mason Creek. I live nearby. I'm here to represent both my in-laws and my sister-in-law who can't make it tonight. Essentially, Rob already mentioned several of the accommodations that we'd asked for. Privacy fence on a 3-foot berm, limitation of structure height, just for privacy concerns, as far as we don't necessarily want second-story houses looking down into our backyard, swimming pool areas in the future potentially. One other item, and I believe it is required by law, that irrigation access, for instance, our open channel flow irrigation would be left accessible. One other addition, and it was mentioned briefly by Rob, we will be looking to get sewer service and an easement across the southern portion of my father-in-law's property at 24 South Jerem. I understand in correspondence with Rob that they will be performing the work at the cost of the landowners currently. Just want to capture that it's talked about. And also wanted to thank Rob. It's been really great working with him and his team. They've been very accommodating, very responsive. And as much as we don't necessarily like seeing the increase in population, we understand how important it is. And we appreciate the opportunity to have a voice in the process. Thank you.
Thank you. So your property, just out of curiosity, and Parker, you were moving the cursor on that. So this is your property right here, your
Correct.
family property. Okay, and the sewer is going to come through where?
It would be on the southern end of
Right there.
24 South Jerem. Yep, so across a vacant, it's a gravel yard.
Is that your property that's
It is-
going across?
No, it is my in-laws.
It's your in-laws, so they're giving the easement, and then
Yes.
you'll both accommodate.
They have
it.
sent
Okay.
an email as of, I don't know, 45 minutes ago probably,
Great.
vocalizing their willingness to share and allow an easement. So
Awesome.
they're hunting in northern Idaho, so that's why they're not here.
Oh, good for them. It is so refreshing to hear you say what you said, that you've enjoyed the process, even though you really aren't that crazy about the growth, but that somebody's been great to work with. That is the most refreshing thing setting from here, because we don't always hear that. So
I don't
thank you.
imagine you do.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you for being here. Is there someone else that had intended to testify this evening? Yes. Go ahead and come forward and share again your name and your address.
My name is Patty Quinn. I live at 601 South Blue Heron, which is a subdivision just down the street on Gray. And I'm a little bit confused because they were talking about the 4 lots that are deemed single-family residence. So the rest of it, right now, the plot plan is single-family residence, but what prevents them from, my concern is there's more to this subdivision, and there's still, I counted the other day, 15 empty homes. And a lot of them have been sitting there halfway built for over a year. I know this because I walk it all the time. And there's some homes in there that have been half built for a year. So what prevents them from coming in 6 months from now and saying, well, these houses aren't selling because the market, interest rates are high, so let's put in multifamily homes because they're cheaper. We can put a little apartment complex in here, or we can build duplexes in here, and we're approved already, and what's to prevent that from happening?
Patty, that's
I don't want to live next door to apartments.
Patty, that's a good question. Thank you for asking. And typically, we don't answer questions during a public hearing,
Oh,
but
okay.
but we will answer that question. And so we will give you an answer. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's just
That
my
it?
biggest concern.
Great.
So-
Thank you for asking it, and we absolutely have an answer for that.
Mayor, I'm still, where's your property, Patty?
My property is, if you were to continue down Gray
Okay.
towards Amity,
So you're south.
yeah, I live in the Meadows Park subdivision. No, I'm turned around. Oh, I see. If you were to go south more, in that, see that where the little arrow is on the bottom, that subdivision? On the very bottom, if I, in
Down
that
there, that
subdivision.
right-
See
right
that
there.
road right there? If you keep going down that road, my house is on that road. So I come in Gray all the time.
Okay.
You know, I come down
I'm
Gray,
sorry,
but.
where are these half-built houses?
Okay, so the half-built houses are right,
Is it where he has his cursor going around?
yeah, right in
right
that,
there
right
to-
in that, where that little circle is on the bottom?
Right to the east of your property, okay.
Right there, there is a whole group of,
Okay.
I counted 15 empty homes yesterday when I
this-
walked it, before I came
But
here.
this is a whole different developer.
Oh, it is? It's not part of
Well-
the same?
No,
Oh, okay.
it is
But that's still my concern, because if they build more houses right there in that area and they don't sell, then they may go, oh, hey, let's build apartments because we've already been approved, so why can't we?
They're
So
not
I'm just
approved.
concerned about that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. So that is something that both the property owner can speak to and Rodney can speak to at the end of our public hearing. So is there anyone else here this evening that had intended to testify? Okay, seeing no one. Rodney, could you speak to the public hearing process as it relates to changing the land use? If, as Patty Quinn had asked the question about shifting to duplexes or apartments, could you address that?
So, yes, absolutely. Mayor and council, this is being requested for RS7 zoning. The RS7 zoning does not allow a duplex outright, nor do they allow apartments. So the highest that they could get is a duplex, but that's with a conditional use permit. And so there really is no approvals that we're providing right now that would allow for any kind of multifamily development at all. As Councilman Haverfield pointed out, this is being platted so that only single-family residences can exist on the properties.
So even without a development agreement, it could not be platted for anything but single-family RS7. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so that answers the question. Thank you. There, you're welcome. Yes, Councilman
I have
Haverfield?
a question for Rodney as well. Now that we can, well, we lost, there it is. Now that we can see the overall connectivity of this parcel through the other RS7 for access, how many lots are in there and how many access points are there for that existing subdivision?
There's currently two. Are you talking about Pheasant Meadows directly to the south?
Yes.
Pheasant Meadows has two accesses, one onto Happy Valley and one onto Gray's Lane. And
are they both improved?
They are both improved, correct.
Okay.
And just to speak to the empty homes there, again, it's a different developer. We know that they're struggling with financing for those homes. Each developer is different, has different financing, so I wouldn't expect the same results for this project that were done on Pheasant Meadows.
Thank you.
My concern was adding 23 more lots to a single entrance subdivision, which it is not, so we're fine.
Thank you. Okay, this is an opportunity for Mr. Nash to come back and provide some closing comments and provide any answers to any comments that have been made.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say we're really excited about this. I can't speak to another developer. I would say there's probably lawsuits going on between partners or something, because Nampa is a wonderful place to live, and there is a need and there is a huge shortage, as evidenced by the lack of inventory. And I think you already clarified that we can only do single family. That is our intent. This was zoned for duplexes, but we thought this was the highest and best use. And so I'm just going to let my engineer, because it's above my pay grade, just address the small confusion on the emergency access. We did try to purchase more of this land, and we hope that we're first in line if he ever does sell, because we'd love to complete that parcel. So thank you, Mayor and Councilman.
Mayor, Council, thank you. My name is Ted Burke. I'm a civil engineer with EDM Partners. I would just want to back up and discuss that little open space sliver that goes out towards Grays Lane. That is not actually an emergency access. Fire department was not requiring, based on the number of lots we have, to require a secondary emergency access. The single primary access is sufficient. That green space is actually housing utilities. We're using, based on the water zones, et cetera, we're not allowed to connect to Pheasant Meadows, so we have to go out to Grays Lane. So that green space is basically just a housing space. You know, it can be used pedestrians, it will be open, it's not fenced, but it won't be supporting, you know, emergency vehicles or whatnot. So, and it doesn't connect directly to Grays Lane because there is that sliver of land that belongs to the original landowner.
And I do have a question. There was a discussion about irrigation access. How are you accommodating the, currently I think it sounds like it's an open irrigation channel?
Right. So, I mean, we're still working into the engineering, but just like all other development projects, we have to, if there's water that's being currently delivered across the project, we have to guarantee that, whether that's through other ditches or piping or whatnot. I've taken some preliminary looks at some piping solutions where we think we're going to be able to just carry it through pipe and box and deliver it to the other side.
Thank you. And then just quickly, before you sit down, Parker and Rodney, would it be, I don't remember seeing that in conditions of approval. Is that something we could add to the conditions of approval, that the irrigation access is maintained, or is that already in there? Hi, Daniel.
Mayor, that is something that is addressed in state code and reviewed by the engineering department with the final drawings. It's not something that is necessary to be as a condition of approval. It's already handled through state code.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I'm sorry, I
Councilman
didn't catch your
Haverfield.
name.
Ted Burke.
Ted, just a quick question as far as on that sliver of ground. My concern was if it was meant to be a emergency access, we didn't have the turning radiuses to make it work anyway. So glad that that's not even a consideration here. But what is the finish that you plan? I mean, what type of, is it landscaping with shrubs, or what's going to be on that little sliver of ground?
Correct. We intend to just have landscaping. I believe there was a landscape plan submitted where I believe it's just sod and there may be some plantings along the perimeter.
Who's responsible for the maintenance?
The HOA.
There is one? Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm
just going to clarify what that little sliver was for.
I think we have the clarity. I think we do. Okay, I think we're good. Thank you. Okay, so council, if you don't have any other questions, no changes, we will close public hearing.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, this is an opportunity for council discussion and then a motion. Any discussion?
Mayor Kling?
Yes.
I'm fine with the development. The interaction with the neighbors has been successful on the part of the developers. So I would make a motion to approve the annexation and zoning to RS7, single-family residential, and subdivision preliminary plat for Bentley Meadows subdivision located at 0 South Grays Lane for Ted Burke at EDM Partners representing Rob Nash, owner ANN-00277-2023 and SPP 00121-2023 with all conditions listed in the staff report, and to adopt the proposed findings of approval as stated in the staff report. And I remember seeing there was a couple of items. Were they in the staff report, or were they added this evening? Okay. So I believe that the motion as stated is acceptable.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Angula.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Sorry you guys had to wait so long this evening. It was kind of long, but thank you for your patience. And thank you for you guys coming tonight to speak. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're going to go back and address new business item 7.7. This is an action item. It's to authorize the mayor and city council to approve, one, the street facility expansion at an estimated cost of $1.5 million, which is approved in the FY24 budget. Two, recommend an option for the purchase of land and buildings for the Fleet Service Building estimated between $5.254 million and $8 million. And option one is approved in the FY24 budget. And Crystal, thank you for coming forward. Thank you for waiting.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm just noticing, is this couple, do you have a question or wondering what's happening?
We were with Dynasty Diner, and we were here for alcohol.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That was approved in the, I'm so sorry that you're waiting so long. It was approved. It was approved as part of our consent agenda at the very beginning, and I am so sorry that you have waited. Thank you. It's all good. You are approved to go forward, and I'm sorry that you sat and waited so long. Oh, good. Thank you, and Doral, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Well, I thought maybe they were here for this, but yeah, thank you.
Are you waiting for something?
We wanted to speak to something that wasn't on the list today.
So after the council meeting, did you want to speak to some council members? Okay, great. Thank you.
I'll try and go fast for you.
We're almost done.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I submitted a presentation at the bench. You guys should all have a handout of the PowerPoints. Sorry I didn't get it in the packet sooner. So what I'm here to present today is an update on the Fleet Streets buildings that were approved a couple years ago, as well as a new proposition for you. So I always like to start with where we've come from. So in February of 22, Council approved this option. It was called option 3B in the presentation. It included a new fleet building and an expanded street administration building, both of those located on our current streets campus. So you can kind of see the building on the left-hand side, and in that blue is the expanded, or the new fleet building, and then the middle blue is that expanded streets building. So this option came to about $7.1 million with a breakdown in $1.5 million in impact fees, that was for the streets portion, and $5.6 million, which was going to be a loan from general fund for the fleet building. So the streets floor plan, we still agree and like this. The current floor space is approximately 3,000 square feet. We're almost going to double the space with that $1.5 million. We don't know that if it's going to actually look like this, or if it's going to expand just to the north or the west. I just wanted to give you guys a rough ballpark of what it would look like. But it would be on the same site using the existing facility. However, the fleet building is where we got into a couple of issues. So the original proposal, and this one was not approved, I'm going to call this the Cadillac version. This was the $11 million version. Looked like this. On the left-hand side in that square area, you see the administration office. This includes the locker rooms, the restrooms, the meeting areas, things like that. And then everything on the right-hand side is what would be considered the shop floor, and that's what was approved.
So, Crystal, where is Doug's office? I'm just curious. On this.
Yeah. So you can see right here, the approved floor plan does not include any common area for the people to meet, any locker rooms for them to change into any of their uniforms, a reception area of any kind, so we would be dumping any of our clients straight onto the shop floor. And then the only accessible restrooms in this are in the middle of the shop, so anyone needing to use the restroom would have to walk through a potentially hazardous situation to get there. This floor plan was about 18,000 square feet, so we needed to reconfigure this slightly to make sure that it had all of those things that the fleet building needed. In order to do that, we had to come up with a plan like this, because anytime we changed it, cost escalated. So this reduced the footprint of the approved building by 3,000 square feet, and it looks something like this. The problem with this is even with this reduced footprint, the cost escalated to about $7.75 million. This is just for the fleet building. And I'll remind you, what was approved and estimated 2 years ago was 5.6. So it's about a cost escalation of $2.1 million, which is rough. So because of this, we went back to the drawing board because we didn't want to come just to council and be like, can we please have $2 million? So we wanted to come up with some alternatives for you, which I'd like to present today. So the first alternative is I would like to separate the streets fleets project into 2 separate projects. The streets portion, with it being impact fee funded, is very straightforward. We could go out for an RFP with a turnkey for design and construction, keep that within budget. We shouldn't have too many problems with that. And then the fleet one, right now we have $5.254 million approved in the FY24 general fund. We've already spent some of it in all of the concept designs and the reworks and the new cost estimations. It includes moving the fleet building to a new potential location. So this is just a rendering. It's not actually what the building looks like, but staff has become aware there's an opportunity for us. There are 2 lots for sale at the corner of Happy Valley and Airport Road. The price of each lot is $2.45 million, and that price includes the bare ground, some engineering work, as well as a steel package that should include everything here. So basically the girders, all the metal components, the siding and things like that, but it is not constructed. So it includes bare lot and a building that you can construct. As I said, they're located right here. They're directly adjacent to each other. They're very, very ideal because they're square in nature. They're located just south of the Garrity interchange, so it would be a good location for fleet to expand onto. Each of the lots is 2.25 acres, but there's only 1.98 acres of buildable area in each one. That's because of the easements and there's been an improvement for a walking path already installed along the outside. As I mentioned, the price includes the buildings. And so we've got 3 options for these that I'd like to go over with council. Option number 1 is the cheapest. We would like to propose to purchase one of the lots. Our preference would be for the easternmost lot because it has a potential for 2 ingress-egress areas, like one onto Happy Valley. With our currently approved $5.245 million, we should be able to purchase the lots, build the fleet building, the current building that is there, and that includes turnkey, so paint, landscaping, fencing, windows, everything we would need, as well as including any new additional equipment that we would need to have this building. So this building, the footprint's just over 17,000 square feet. It includes 2,000 square feet of covered outdoor area, 15,000 square feet of warehouse, 2,400 square feet of office, and 2,400 square feet of mezzanine. So it would look something like this once it's all done. So it includes 3 light-duty bays and 2 heavy-duty bays. The area that's hashed out in green in the back is that office area. The blue box is a parts room, as well as an alignment bay and a setup bay. I will note, this current drawing has 1 less light-duty bay than we have right now. However, it actually is about 10,000 square feet bigger. So we have a bigger capacity in this new building than what we currently have. So the building that we currently have, we have outgrown. We're already looking at outsourcing some of our work. So with this, we would be able to keep all of the work that we currently have and grow for maybe another 20 to 30 years. And this is with the building that's provided and within the budget that we've already got approved. But we wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't take a look at an opportunity at both locations. Anytime you purchase 2 lots side by side, there's going to be an economy of scale. So option number 2, and this is our Cadillac version, would be to buy both lots right now. We would need an additional 2.5-ish million in order to accomplish this. We could take 2 of the bays from the other structure that's not built, add them and build an expanded fleet building that's about 22,000 square feet. That would give us a second building that could be made available to any other division within the city. There's a few that are currently looking. Water needs a new building, wastewater needs a building, and potentially facilities needs a building. So it could be built here on this location, like I've shown in this picture. It could also get picked up and be built on any other city land. I'd also like to note any of the estimates that I'm showing you today are worst case scenario. So I took the advertised price of the property, right? If we were approved to purchase this property, our process moving forward would be to go get an appraisal first and then start negotiations at that appraisal price. So likely the cost would go down. Just wanted to give you the all-in costs. So this new building would look something like this. You can see all of the additional bays. This would give us an additional 20,000 square feet. It would get us 40, 50 plus years. It would allow fleet to grow until Nampa is the size of Boise. It's about 1,200 units. So long time to grow. It also gives us an opportunity for potential insourcing. We've been approached by the City of Caldwell, the City of Meridian, Canyon County paramedics, all sorts of different people asking our fleet to take care of their fleet, and we just don't have capacity right now. This building would give us capacity.
So, Mayor, if I may, and that would be maybe a Doug question for later. So we increase the size of this. That means if you're going to take care of other municipalities and so on. So how much more labor are you going to have to hire?
Mayor and council, the idea would be to onboard a lead technician or a foreman position and probably 2 additional technicians to handle the additional load of, say, if we were to bring on City of Meridian, where they have a substantial fleet, we'd probably need 3 to 4 additional staff.
And so what would you forecast? I realize you don't have a crystal ball. What would be your forecast, say Meridian alone? What would be the increased revenue annually from something like that? And I'm talking about net now because your cost of labor and so on.
That would be difficult to say. Currently, we charge our police department roughly $700,000 a year. So I would say maybe let's be conservative and say maybe $500,000 revenue.
After, and that would be net.
That would be
That's
all
not
in.
gross?
That would be our total billed amount.
That's your gross amount?
Yeah.
The bill amount. Okay, so you'd
That's
still
just a
have
rough
your added labor costs and so on out of that. Okay, thanks.
Mayor, Doug, before you sit down, so this has one less bay, this configuration.
Mayor and council, let me clarify that. If you count this is the expanded version with the two additional bays. If you count the number of doors, that's correct. But the way we would set this shop up, because there's so much room inside, each door would represent actually 4 workstations, which would quadruple what we have now. It's just when we say bays, it's just kind of an easy way to state the steel girder arrangement as additions.
The option 2 expansion to 20+ thousand square feet is really not necessary at this point for you to handle the current capacity and provide additional capacity to others.
Mayor and council, that is correct, with the caveat that with option 2, we would be able to fold back in a paint and body component. With our ACRIM deductible doubling beginning of this month at $7,000 per incident, I think there's a huge opportunity to save a lot of money on minor paint and body repairs that we could do in-house if we had this option 2.
City outsource that to someone else?
Correct. All of our paint and body is outsourced to the various body shops. And there's a lot of it that we could do in-house. I would say, again, a conservative estimate is if we were able to keep 25% of our collision repairs in-house, we would save possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars over, say, a 3 or 4 year period.
So maybe a crystal question then. Have you looked at the debt analysis as far as debt service that additional or money that might be able to come in would offset the additional expansion or purchase of the other lot?
So Councilman Haverfield, we've looked at repayment options, which I can present later if you'd like. They don't include all of the contingencies on if we had the paint and body shop, how much we'd be able to save in and dump back into our payments, as well as it doesn't look at insourcing revenue if we did have an expanded area and we brought more in. That would just be additional. I didn't want to add additional revenue if it wasn't guaranteed at the time. So I wanted to give worst case scenario, how long it would take and how much it would cost us.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I followed up on his question to Doug that you hadn't gotten your presentation done yet for options 2 and 3.
No worries.
So
we're still on 2 though, right?
This is option number 2. So this is our
And-
Cadillac
Okay, so and you don't have to
7.75.
answer it now, but I'm just curious. So this is just with the eastern lot, or this would have to have both lots?
Option 2 has both lots.
Okay,
we
so
would
to have this kind of square footage, you would need both lots?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
So, as Doug pointed out, I was going to mention, this does give us a paint and body shop, which allows that work to be done in-house, as well as a dedicated mobile equipment bay, which we don't have right now. So that would
Mayor?
also be beneficial.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I confused, this configuration isn't the option 1 configuration. Does the option 1 configuration meet your current and expected expansion needs?
20 years.
Yeah, about 20 years.
Okay, and this is the one with one less bay.
This is the option. It currently has one less, I should call them doors instead of bays, but if you're technically counting the number of ingress, egress, then yes.
So
there's
that's
one less
both
light.
sides of the bay itself.
Yes.
But it does not provide for the bodywork.
It does not provide
We
paint and
would
body. It does
continue
not
to
provide
outsource
mobile
that.
equipment.
I
But
was-
it does provide with our current workload, as well as additional expansion, because we can fit more than one vehicle in each one of these bays, where we can't in our current building.
I'm sorry, I just confused the other image with the intent on this one.
They're all going to be very similar, so I'll try and enunciate them a little better. So option 1.
Thank
little
you
bit
for
more
adding
condensed.
option 3 as I'd asked you to.
Option 2, this technically has one more door or bay than what we currently have. This is the 50-plus year option. Option 3 is very similar. It's somewhere in the middle. We purchase both lots. We make the entire second building available to somebody else. We don't touch it. And we build the original fleet building, that option 1 building, just on one of the lots, and then we've got extra room for somebody else. So these are the action items. Would you like me to go over some repayment scenarios, Councilman Haverfield, for those questions?
No,
Or
I'm just, as long as you're looking into the debt service that those other operations could maybe bring back against the purchase price, then I think that's a viable approach. Plus, obviously, the cost of the ground itself is something that I've asked you to try to get less out of, or get more property for less money. So knowing what we have in the ground below.
Councilman Haverfield is mentioning that each cost of each parcel is $2.45 million. That equates to about $22 a square foot. Based on our preliminary analysis, the similar lots are going for anywhere between 12 and 17 per square foot, which is why we would recommend an appraisal first, and then using the appraised price as our negotiating point.
And also for council's understanding, the geotech reports indicate that there's subsurface basalt and lava that is near the surface within 30 inches that would have to be remediated, whether it's blown out of the ground or able to be chiseled out. But there's a cost associated with that groundwork alone that wouldn't be on other properties that are at $12 to $15 a square foot.
Yes.
And they're asking $20+ a square foot for this.
The construction estimates we did get include all-in cost to build a building on this site, though, so it
Including if you have to have some,
the remediation, yes.
okay. And Mayor, doesn't have to be now. I would like for Doug Racine, though, to speak to this eventually, so.
Okay.
Certainly, Councilor, Mayor, whenever you're ready, Crystal.
I have another question, if you don't mind. Okay. Since you're out looking for new buildings, so it seems like you fixated on this property right here. So have you gone to any other buildings that have those massive buildings that they have around here now and looked at those facilities to see whether they would be an option rather than already take a land and build something on it, where it's already built? A good place is over here by Norco or out here by the interstate. Have you looked at that?
Councilman Rodriguez, we have explored a couple other opportunities like that. Ones including parcels that have a building that we would need to retrofit, and some with just bare lots where we could purchase a steel package and build something similar. Based on the layout, where you don't see a lot of nice square parcels like this, that would allow for a good place if we insource so somebody could get to us really easy. It's near like the airport, which is another one of our facilities. We felt this was a really good option and a good location for the fleet building, as opposed to leaving it on the streets.
I see. Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have a quick question, Crystal. On option 2 for the paint booth, do you have that factored in your cost estimates for the booth and stuff?
We do.
Yeah, and what is that additional amount?
Mayor and council, for an updraft paint booth, they go anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000. And you'd include a mixing room, which is a negligible cost of maybe $10,000 or $12,000 while they're building the office interior area.
Thank you. Mayor, can I follow up? So Doug, how many accidents do we have a year that we approximately? Give a rough number.
Between 20 and 30 a year, maybe, on a bad year.
Right. So what was referenced earlier was the ICRIMP increase in deductible. In 2023, it was $3,500 per incident. Now it's $7,000 per incident. So you figure that by 25, 30 accidents, you'll cover that 50,000 investment very quickly in 1 year.
And we just had a pit maneuver that took out 3 cars at one time. And so go ahead.
Well, correct, and that's an excellent point. An incident can involve 3 or 4 police cars at one time. And a lot of those we can repair. We can get them on the road. We have one at the shop right now that has most of the damage is mechanical. It has some minor fender repair, but because it's an ICRIMP case, we can't touch it to get it up and back in the fight because it's part of a subrogation process with a criminal activity. Whereas if we were the handler of that situation, we would, even conservatively, if we were able to handle 25% of the incidences, I think we'd save tens of thousands of dollars minimum the first year. And then if you were to extrapolate that over about a 5-year period, I think you'd be in the hundreds of thousands.
So Mayor, I'm not quite understood. So can you bypass ICRIMP if these guys are dealing with this? Not an outside
Doug, do you have an answer? I don't.
Mayor and council, to my understanding is we would act as our own repair facility, and ICRIMP would actually pay us. That's how I understand it, minus the deductible.
Okay.
I'd have to do some research to confirm that. But if you can't, a headlight on a police car is $800.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane.
And Tyler and Lieutenant are not driving, they're not part of it.
Correct. So my understanding is that if we had the capacity to repair the vehicles in-house, we would open an ICRIMP case as normal, minus our deductible, and then ICRIMP would pay us the difference if the repair is completed in-house. That's my understanding.
Mayor Kling.
Yes.
I'll also say the timing of having the repair done, I know that since I have a vehicle repair that's going to be needed, it was 2.5 months out before they could even take it in at any location in the valley.
And we can't afford to have our vehicles sitting that kind of time frame. They've got to get back out, and I
Absolutely.
appreciate.
We have several police cars that have been down for months waiting for body shops to open up.
Wow.
So Councilor Bruner Darrell asked for my comments financially. For a multiple number of reasons, I support almost any one of these options. I like being able to have the auto shop because it allows us to do more work for us and decrease. Well, you've heard me use the term cost avoidance. We're avoiding future cost increases by building capacity ourselves. I think we're dealing with a motivated seller. If we don't do it internally, our capacity to repair and keep our vehicles up and running timely becomes limited. And this comes back to essentially the original price we budgeted 2 years ago, and costs have gone up. So for a multiple number of reasons, I support this particular advantageous. I like option 2, but let me ask you a question, Crystal. How much would be the largest building you could put on that remaining lot if you expanded this, or would the entire section be dedicated to this?
I mean, at minimum, we could put the remainder of the building on there. It could likely be even more expanded. It depends on the use of that second building and how much parking they need. Because fleet takes a little bit of parking to have around it, but we could put a good-sized building.
You can still put another building on the second lot, even with the expanded.
Yes.
So Mayor Crystal, I'm not quite understanding, what's the reason you have to extend over into this second lot? What's preventing you from using more of the first lot for the building itself?
So I just placed that on there for reference. We would still need ingress, egress for the larger vehicles, like the ladder trucks and things like that to get in and out.
There would not be enough by scooting that over more east or whatever that would not allow the proper egress?
There might be. We would have to do the engineering analysis to figure out
I
exactly
mean,
where the
I
building should
personally, I
be.
guess I'm not ready for past number one. I'm just giving you my personal opinion, and I'm supposed to be asking questions, not personal opinions at this point. But I would be interested in evaluating that expansion, but keeping it on lot one at this point in time.
The only thing is the expansion, the second building goes with the second lot. So to expand it, it's possible that you could expand it. You would just have to see if you could match your trusses and everything, going back to the company to get additional parts. The other thing that we've discussed some is that we already have approved in the FY24 budget an expansion at water. And that secondary building, except I don't have the answer, Tom, from Jeff, would that secondary building actually work in our water department? It would. So what we're finding is this style of building is the most cost-effective building. It's a metal building, but it would serve our purposes. It's not fancy, but it would serve our purpose as well as the city. And so you could do a couple things. You could use part of the building on the secondary lot. You could sell the secondary lot, use the secondary building for water. I mean, there's any number of different things you could do. It is a little concerning to spend an extra two point whatever million. I think we can go in less than that and accomplish what we need to accomplish. I don't think we need to go in at that full price.
So Mayor, if we are approving this tonight, we are not approving this price at all. We are just approving negotiations, and then this would come before council at a later time?
Councilman Bruner, my intent was just to get an approval on a path moving forward, and if we choose to look at both of the lots, to hire an appraisal for both, and then we will come back to council with a final ask for how much it's going to be and a payment plan at that time.
But if, I think the mayor indicated this, if water were to take to the second lot and fleet the first, essentially all of the money needed for this exists within the current 2024 budget.
Well, I'm just not willing to pay this kind of square footage cost, so.
Mhm. And the question is the square footage cost that it includes the building? Or is it just a square footage cost?
So what I have shown on the screen right now, that 7.75, is if we paid asking price for the square footage of the property, which there's likely room for negotiation on that one, as well as the buildings themselves and the construction of the expanded fleet building. Doesn't include the construction of the second building.
Mayor, I have one more
Yes,
question.
and I think Councilman Reynolds, and then
Doug, I have 3 questions. I'll tie them all together to maybe, I know you have a large brain, so you can digest it. So what was originally approved, and then how much extra do we need, and then where's it going to come from?
Originally, the building was approved for $5.6 million for the fleet and 1.5 for the streets. That was originally. We spent some of the money. What's currently in the budget right now is about $5.3 million in the fleet and 1.5 in the streets. That's what's in there right now. Separating the street building from the package, let's focus on the $5.3 million we have in the budget. The water budget has $2 million in their current budget to build a new water building. If we chose to use that money and the designated purpose of that second lot became water, you have all the money to buy and build the fleet building and buy the second lot. There would probably be some additional costs, as Crystal's mentioned, to build the second building, to assemble it, that is. We've got the equipment. But I think the bottom line would have to be determined by how effectively we can negotiate with the sellers. I believe they are motivated, and that will help us get off of this, and possibly you might be able to do the entire package with no additional budgetary needs, possibly.
And a point of clarification is water would not be at this location. The water expansion is at water, and it's right next to their existing building. And that is budgeted, I believe, is it $2 million this year and $2 million next? I was thinking it was a total of $5 million. It's a total of $4 million?
Well, I think they need $5 million, but they were anticipating a $4 million budget on the savings of the Aclara water meters that we no longer had to pay for.
Okay, so that was $2 million this year and $2 million next year. So they budgeted it in 2 years, knowing they wouldn't
Correct.
expense it all in 1 year. So it is budgeted to build
You'd have enough.
the water facility. And needless to say, using this type of building, we could actually use this building for that purpose.
Okay, Madam Mayor, so follow up, the $2 million for the water, that stays at water,
Yes.
so, but you're borrowing the money to buy this?
Well, we have general government funds, capital funds. The intent initially has been to loan the money internally and have the fleet pay us back so we can replenish our own, in essence, build our own revolving fund. Now, that could be a point of discussion. Maybe we determine we want to just invest the funds and not have them repay it or have them repay partially. That could be a discussion down the road as we move, but they're not borrowing externally. It's borrowing internally, so we repay ourselves.
And it is strictly capital, one-time capital dollars.
Right.
So are
And then-
impact fee dollars available for these projects?
For the streets building,
Fully.
but not for these. There might be some, I'm not sure if we've,
The fleet building is not impact fee eligible,
Yeah.
but we do have 800,000 of unrestricted ARPA that we were planning to put at this as well.
But the fleet is, we already have 1.5 million set aside for streets, is that correct?
Yes, so the
Right.
5.245 that's left over is the general fund money that's
It's fleet.
appointed just to fleet,
So
plus the
let's-
800 ARPA.
Tonight, there were several different actions, and so one of the actions that we could vote on these separately. Number one on our agenda is approve the street facility expansion at the estimated cost of $1.5 million that is approved in the FY24 budget. That is one action item for tonight, and that is one that we can do.
I'll make that motion.
Just a moment. Mayor Kling, I'd like to say something.
Is there a second
Okay.
to my motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Now discussion.
I want to see something before the motion.
Sorry.
So since so many of our departments are going to be using this facility, I'm going to go back to impact fees. So why can't we increase the impact fee from each department and use some ARPA funds that's left over and not use general funds? How about that?
Clarity, there is only one, so we cannot mix dollars from enterprise funds.
You can't.
No, you're not allowed to. So for streets and fleet is together, right, enterprise. But fleet's actually got general fund in it, it's got other things in it. So the street, the motion right to approve the street facility with impact fees, that is strictly streets. And we cannot mix anything, and there's only one streets.
I thought that one time we were thinking about doing that.
What's that?
no, the use of impact fees are very restricted.
I know about that. I thought at one time we were going to use some ARPA funds.
There are
well-
ARPA funds dedicated, I believe you said that
Well-
amount is how much?
800,000.
For the fleet
Let's-
facility.
Let's be clear, those $800,000 are not yet designated exactly how the council would like to use them. They are available as undesignated, but just because they're available here, it doesn't mean you have to use them here, but it is an option to use them here.
And tonight, I would rather not make that decision on ARPA dollars because that's a whole different discussion that's a
It is.
very important
And
discussion.
we can bring this forward at a later time, but there's clarity, we need to go over the remainder of how we use the interest income on ARPA. It's later.
Okay, so right now, we have a motion on the table to approve the street facility expansion at the estimated cost of $1.5 million. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion around that?
Yes, the impact fees are what's being used for this.
Yes, funded through impact fees.
Got it.
Thank you for the clarity. Roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Jingula.
Yes.
Everfield.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Okay, so then the next item on the agenda was to recommend an option for the purchase of the land building for Fleet Services Building. And the recommended option allows you to move forward in negotiations. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mayor.
But it isn't an authorization to actually take action. It's to move forward and look at the option based on the option that's identified here.
The only actions that it would authorize at this time is to hire an appraiser for one or both parcels and come up with a funding and spending plan.
Okay,
And Mayor, I would move that we get the appraisal on both options, but not make a decision on one or two at this point in time until the appraisal is accomplished.
is that a motion?
Yes.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we get an appraisal on the property so that we know how to move forward at the appropriate price. Yes.
So Crystal, does that include the construction of the buildings or just the land purchase cost? The appraisal?
The appraisal will just include the land purchase cost, but it will help us in coming up with another funding and spending plan on all-in construction costs that is a little bit meatier, as well as.
'Cause that's a whole different process as far as either a design-build effort or however it's constructed, utilizing some components that are going to have to be supplemented with different portal frames and different things as far as the new construction. So that's a whole different scenario. But the land purchase price is what would interest me and would sway my vote when it comes to one of those options down the road.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I just have a comment. I hate to see us get into a situation where we buy some property and then we don't have a solid construction estimate. We don't have dollars laying around for contingency, like some entities do. And so I feel like we really need some solid numbers to bring back, that we cannot exceed that amount. I'm in favor of this. It's a neat project, as long as we can do it with the dollars we have.
Councilman Reynolds, the construction estimates that we did get were actual estimates from contractors. We went out and then I picked the highest number again to give you worst case scenario. So I'm fairly firm in the numbers, but we would come back with better ones for you.
So I don't need to amend my motion or add that on there. We're okay, Councilman Reynolds?
Very good. I think we're okay, because we're just going to go out for an
Okay.
appraisal. And we'll have further discussion around this, around how we go about it, to make sure that we're coming back with the right
Clean.
information. Yes.
So is there a value associated with the appraisal cost?
Yes, and I wish my right-of-way agent was here. I would probably say it's going to be less than $10,000 to do an appraisal for both properties.
So I would limit to not to exceed, did you say 10,000?
Yeah, that's my
That
best.
seems like a lot.
I was taking a wag at it.
That
Thanks.
commercial is a little more expensive.
It is.
Okay.
So do we need to not, an amount not to exceed?
Not to exceed number of some type.
What number do you want?
We don't seem to have
A good number.
accurate number.
So Tom, what would you expect the not to exceed number to be?
10,000 is definitely high, maybe around 70 between two of them.
Okay, now I'll
7,500
amend my
then.
motion that the appraisal would not to exceed $7,500.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are we ready for roll call? Roll call.
Ingula.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Okay, I think, did we accomplish what we needed to?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Okay, 7.8 is an action item to authorize the mayor to sign a letter requesting Compass Planning assistance for county registration fees.
So moved.
Yeah, we've been working on this for some time. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Tom has his letter and just asking Compass for their assistance as we move
So
forward.
what's our chances, Mayor or Tom? What's our, we didn't have all the other entities. We had 9 out of 13. or
Mayor,
something.
council, yeah, we had 10 of the 13. I think our chances are good.
Better?
Yeah, we were heading in the right direction, and then
Okay.
we got stalled with COVID, so.
We can also move forward with commissioner support, 2 out of the 3. And if we can get that, then we could also move forward. And then it's a vote of the public, so that's, yeah.
Great, okay. Let's do
Okay,
it.
it's been
Okay.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Ingula.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Thank you, Tom.
Haverfield.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
That takes us to Section 9 on our agenda, unfinished business. This is an action item. It's the first reading of ordinance of the zoning map amendment from downtown village to downtown historic zoning district for 8 parcels that are addressed at 1050, well, at a number of addresses that you're going to go through, right? So I'm not going to read them all. Totaling .96 acres and a right-of-way fronting these properties along 3rd Street South and 11th Avenue South and 4th Street South. Specifically, I'll let you do that for Muscle Construction. And it is requested to pass under suspension of rules.
An ordinance of the City of Nampa, Idaho, to provide a DH Downtown Historic Zone designation for certain lands, commonly known as 1015 3rd Street South, 315 11th Avenue South, 309 11th Avenue South, 315 11th Avenue South, 323 11th Avenue South, 0 3rd Street South, and 0 11th Avenue South, Nampa, Idaho. County parcels R13607, R13608, R13609, R13610, R13613, R136071010, R1360711, and R136103010, comprising approximately 0.96 acres, more or less, and for the right-of-way fronting those parcels along 3rd Street South, 11th Avenue South, and 4th Street South, as noted herein, and comprising approximately 0.61 acres, more or less. Determine that said zoning is in the best interest of the citizens and consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. Rezoning said property from DV Downtown Village to DH Downtown Historic, providing for recordation, instructing the city engineer to designate said property as DH Downtown Historic on the official zoning map and other area maps of the city, subject to any conditions imposed by the city council, directing the city engineer to alter the use and area map accordingly, providing for an effective date, and repealing all ordinances, rules, and regulations and parts thereof in conflict herewith.
Mayor Kling, I'll make a motion to pass the ordinance as read under suspension of rules.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Jingula.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Haverfield.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
We had an executive session on our agenda. There is no need for that tonight, and so I would stand for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, council, we do have our workshop on Thursday morning. It is at 8